All right, guys, I have got about 9 foam core paddles that I'm going to play test today. And I'm going to run through them all so that you don't have to. You know, you probably want to, but you probably don't have all these paddles. And I'm going to do my best to help uncover some of the answers to the questions you guys have about these foam core paddles. Now, some of them are full foam core paddles like the J2NF, and some of them are backed up by an internal rib structure like the Gearbox GX2 Power. So I'm going to start by taking drives off the ball machine and then talking through how the ball seems to exit the paddle surface, how the ball feels off the face, what the perceived level of spin is, and then I will rank each of these paddles in terms of my favorite, in terms of power output, drive output, and then overall favorite. Like which one or two of these, are my favorite full foam core paddles, and also why. And then I'll do some drops and we'll compare and contrast what we learned between paddle to paddle to paddle to paddle. Drives first. Here we go. Missed that one. Okay, much firmer face than I think you'd expect off a foam core paddle. I'm hoping words aren't going to be hard today. Yeah, firmer face, but not a lot of action. Spin seems good, but a firmer face. Let's go to the Selkirk. Selkirk Project 88 Pure Foam. Softer face than the Diadem Warrior Blue Core. Very good ball bendability, but definitely a softer feel off the face. All right, let's go to the Surter. Missed that one. This feels about as soft as the Project 88, but I don't know if you can hear the sound this paddle's making. Great ball bendability. So firmer Diadem, a little bit softer than Project 88 Epic. And the Surter is still a touch softer yet, but there's more action off this paddle. VCore. Okay, this is now up a notch in firmness from the Surter. Ooh, it's similar to the Diadem in terms of stiffness. Interesting. No, Diadem still stiffer. Power seems good on the VCore, not the Warrior. Great ball movement. TrueFoam. Okay, TrueFoam and VCore. Let's see. These feel the same. Identical almost. I would say power is likely the same as well. Ball feel off the face, nearly identical here. Okay, Ronbus, R5. Deeper sound. Huh. VCore's firmer than Ripple. Definitely a bit softer off the face. Power is excellent here. Power is very good here. Gearbox GX2 Power. GX2 Power. Ooh. Going back to the Ripple and GX2 power. These feel very similar. GX2. I'm gonna get the Surter into this mix. Deeper sound, hopefully you can hear that. Ripple. Softer. Missed that one. God, all three of these feel remarkably similar. I can't pick which one. Maybe the Surter is a touch stiffer. The wind. Maybe the Surter is a touch stiffer. Yep. Touch. A touch. Gearbox. Ooh. Ripple. Surter. You know what? I can't call it. These three feel so remarkably similar. Honolulu Pickleball J2NF, Body Helix, Flick F1 TerraCore XC. Let's see what we got. Excellent power here, guys. Okay. I know the construction's different, but ball off the face, these feel similar. Nope, that one's a touch firmer. Or is it? So what's interesting is this feels denser than this. This feels more like a honeycomb polypropylene core than I think any of these other ones do, which is very interesting. And it's a feel that I actually prefer. I'm gonna hit some more and we're gonna talk. So, all right, couple more of these, and I'm gonna pull in some of the ribcore ones in. Yeah, dude, this thing's money. Denser, definitely denser. J2NF after I hit the Surter. Just crisp. Yeah. J2NF compared to Gearbox. GX2 power. This is the hybrid. Now I'm going to keep going. I'm evolving my take on my favorites out of these 8 or 9 paddles. So I'm going to try to alternate between these 4. GX2, that was the Ripple, R5. Similar. Okay. Oh, wait. I gotta put VCore in here too. Okay. I'm gonna try to hold 5 paddles and hit 1. All right, VCore. $99. Firm. Ronbus. Touch softer. Nearly identical to the Ronbus. Honolulu NF, softest paddle, softest to stiffest or firmest. Ball feel off the face. Element 6 Surter, softest. Second softest is the Ronbus Ripple R5. Ball feel off the face. Third is the VCore. Fourth is the Gearbox GX2 Power. And stiffest, crispest, if that's a word. I'm not using that in a derogatory way, just describing the playing characteristics. But the firmest out of this bunch, which I think happen to be my favorites right now, is the J2 NF. Why? Well, these two feel closest to me to a honeycomb polypropylene core that I really, really enjoy playing. And there's two of them right now. The first is the Yola Pro 4 Perseus 16. It's just something about that core, the way it feels, the way the ball feels off the face and moves off the face. And also the 11624 Alpha Pro Power Series. These feel closest to that core type to me out of all of these foam core paddles that I've been playing, testing. It's not to say that these are bad or those are bad. They're just different. Everybody's going to have an affinity for their own paddle playing characteristics. And I've got mine. So in terms of power output though, I did run these numbers, and I'm going to get my phone here in a second, but I'm going to rattle off what I think I'm seeing, and then we'll compare the numbers out of these 5. So most power I'm getting from the Ronbus Ripple V2 R5. I think second, I'm going with the GX2 Power Hybrid. Third, I'm going with the Element 6 Surter. Oh, fourth and fifth. Fourth, I'm going with the VCore. And last, in terms of power output, I'm going with the J2 NF. Let me get my phone and see if I'm even close to being right. Okay, so R5 Ripple has a firepower score of 93. The Gearbox GX2 Power has a firepower score of 85. So far, I'm so good. Element 6 Surter has a firepower score of 73. Okay. The VCore has a firepower score of 52. Okay. So far, we're on track here. The Honolulu Pickleball J2 NF has a firepower score of 51. So I ranked them according to what I just saw and felt here, and the numbers that I've run using the radar gun. In terms of power output, Ronbus Ripple R5, Gearbox GX2 Power Hybrid, Element 6 Surter, and Vatic Pro VCore Flash 16, and the Honolulu Pickleball J2 NFL. Now, are we talking major differences here? Maybe a mile or two difference. But in reality, if you're in a match and you're driving a ball, are you going to be able to tell that much of a difference in terms of the power output? Maybe if you're just one of those people that hits incredibly hard. Maybe. I can tell because I've hit all these a ton, and I also remember the speed numbers I ran, but I can also tell based on like what I saw here. Does anything jump out at me as like, whoa? No, it doesn't. However, out of these 9 paddles, the one that does stand out to me as very powerful and very poppy, I don't know what the firepower score is, but I'll go look in a second, is this TerraCore XC. So The TerraCore XC firepower score is 88. Okay, so the Ripple would be the number 1 out of this whole bunch. The number 2 would be the GX2 Power Hybrid, and the TerraCore XC would be the number 3 in terms of just raw power output. However, out of all these foam paddles, which one do I struggle with playing the most? It's this Flick TerraCore XC. Is it a bad paddle? No. It's a fantastic paddle. I just can't tame it. I've tried. I've probably have a dozen hours of solid play on this paddle alone. And I'm struggling with pop-ups. I'm struggling with control and touch shots where the ball, jumps off the face a little bit hotter than I'm expecting. Does that make it a bad paddle? No. It's just something that you guys need to know about going into it, eyes wide open, because if you're going to buy this, just know it's going to take a good calibration phase. There is, if I recall the X-ray image correctly, a fiberglass layer, just like on the TrueFoams, right here, dead center in the sweet spot. So you may remember the TrueFoams have this like square sweet spot center layer of fiberglass. If I recall correctly, the TerraCore XC from Body Helix does this well. And that's what I also found a little bit wild about the TrueFoams. While I love the way they play, there are times where you catch a shot, maybe it's a touch shot, and the ball just accelerates off the face a little hotter than you expected. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? That's the vibe that I get here. Do I like it? No. Does it affect playability all that much? It can. If you're just not expecting it. I find that the pop-ups where the ball seems to just accelerate a bit more happen when you least expect it. Unlike the other paddles, where, the surface of the Ronbus pretty much is just all nonlinear power. So you go into this expecting the paddle to perform in that manner, right? Like you swing 50 or touch a shot, 30%, and you get maybe 40, 45% back, but you have that all around the paddle face. You don't have that. Maybe you do a time. No, you don't. I don't think you do in the GX2 Power. This plays more like a Yola Pro 4 than any of these other paddles that I'm holding in my hands. If you really, really loved the way that the Ripple betas felt, played, and sounded, although with the power and pop numbers dialed back just a touch, I think you'll really like the Element 6 Surter. Sounds nearly identical to the Ripple beta. But what takes the cake for power right now, for legal foam, is this Ronbus Ripple R5, and I think the R4 as well. I just don't remember what those numbers are off the top of my head. So these other paddles, Diadem, Warrior Blue Core, Selkirk, Project 008, Epic, Carbon, TrueFoam Genesis 2, and the TerraCore. Like, the reason I don't want to say I don't like this paddle, because that implies, it could imply to some people that, like I'm hating on it or it's a bad paddle. It's not. It's a very well made and constructed paddle. For my game though, this one's not for me. But its playing characteristics might be for you. So if you're somebody that just is looking for extra power, that nonlinear power, right? where you need help generating power in a well-balanced, elongated shape paddle. Can't wait for this to come in a standard shape. And you want to spend the time calibrating and dialing this paddle in, then 100%, take a look at this. Take a serious look at this, because this is not a bad paddle. Again, it's just not a paddle for me. After a dozen hours of play, will I put more time on it to see? Absolutely. But usually, you know, at the 4 to 6 hour mark, I've cracked the code, so to speak. Like, I've figured out the paddle. I know how to adjust. And with this one, in higher stakes games or playing better players or better players that hit hard, I just struggle with resetting and popping the ball up here. It just, like, control or reestablishing control when you're trying to slow the point down, if that makes sense. The Diadem Warrior Blue Core would be great for somebody who is trying to dial in their soft and control game. You're not going to get into trouble popping the ball up with this. I don't want to say the ball's dead off the face, but if you're playing a Franklin X40 with this, it's kind of dead. There isn't, it's linear power. There isn't paddle help, which is fine because that's what some people are looking for. But you just need to know going into this that this is more of a control paddle than it is an all-court paddle in my assessment. You've got to bring your own power here. Selkirk Project 008 is just an acquired taste. It's not my favorite foam core paddle. Neither is that Diadem Warrior Blue Core. But this one was my main for a while, and it's still a good and excellent foam core paddle if you want to get into foam. The price is in that premium range. I think it's $279.99. Can save a little bit with code MPB. It plays great. It's a little bit heavier for a standard shape. This is a 114-ish swing weight. But you're going to get that nonlinear reaction of the ball off the face center that you don't necessarily feel on drives, but you do feel, you know, on pop shots. However, foam core is evolving, and there are some other fantastic options to consider in the foam core space that before you look at one of these or the Project 008s, that's $288, and the Diadem Warrior Blue Core, which is $264 or $269. I think the TerraCores are just at that $200 mark. The Ronbuses are, I believe, at that $250 mark, still premium tier category. This Element 6 Surter is going to retail for, I believe, $199, but in pre-sale, you can get it for $150 with code MPB, which might be going on now. I think this is going to launch in the next 2 weeks. The GX2 Power is going to retail, again, premium tier category. I believe this is going to retail for $279. Gearbox is big on pushing that this paddle is built to last. It is supposedly built like a tank. I haven't heard any GX2s, the OGs, breaking down. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But I know the Gearbox founder has worked very, very hard on engineering a paddle that will not break down. And he's big about talking about that. And I realize that that is a big claim. And so again, I haven't heard any issues with the GX2 powers. But again, with the GX2 regulars, the GX2 powers are going to retail for a little bit more, again, $279 or so. Honolulu Pickleball, J2 NFL. What's my favorite foam core paddle right now? With all the foam core paddles that I have, which I think that's all of them. There are more in transit, but of the ones that I have right now, what is my favorite full foam core or just foam core paddle? All right, let's move on to drops. And in no particular order, we're going to start with the Ronbus Ripple R5. And why don't we just hold 4 paddles? So I've got the Element 6 Surter, Gearbox GX2 Power, and Honolulu Pickleball J2 NF. Interesting. So it's definitely springy here. I don't want to step on the paddles. There is springier action off the Ronbus Ripple R5. Nonlinear power. Let's go to the Surter. Gearbox GX2 power. Oh, interesting. NFL or J2NF. Ripple. I'm afraid I'm going to twist my ankle over here. Okay, the Ripple is quite a bit softer than the NF. Oh, wait. NF and Surter. NF and Surter. Nope. NF. I'm going to go NF and GX2. NF and GX2 power. Okay, these feel nearly identical. They play nearly identical. Ball off the face. Same level of stiff. This plays a bit softer. Feeling ball off the face. Still bit more trampoline on the Surter and a little bit more on the Ronbus Ripple R5. I probably should just move those paddles. Pushing me off camera. Okay. Let's go to these. VCore, VCore, VCore. Gotta hit it right though. Okay, this is firmer feeling than those other 4 or 5. This is excellent. Man. This is... maybe it's because I'm not holding 4 or 5 other paddles in my hands. But I've just nailed each one of these drops. Drops feel great with this VCore. More so than those other ones. Let me go VCore and NF. Okay, NF is definitely stiffer than VCore. NF is stiffer than VCore. VCore is fantastic. Okay, you're going to get more jarring feedback with the NF. Let's go GX2 power. I missed it. Feels like my Yola. This one's softer than these other 2. Let me just double check. Yep. And yep. GX2 is the softest on touch shots here. However, I feel the most dialed just picking up all these 8 or 9 paddles with this VCore. Let's go carbon. Ooh. Okay, very, very similar. Very, very similar. All right, if you love the way TrueFoam Genesis feels on drops when you hit it, you are going to like VCore. Let me see if I can hit one in the sweet spot. Well, actually, it's blue. TrueFoam seems a little more jarring. Gotta hit the sweet spot though. Let's go VCore. Softer, plusher. Yeah, definitely a bit stiffer. A little tiny bit more jarring. VCore. Okay, on the similar side of stiffness. Still a bit stiffer here in the 008s. Yeah, a tiny bit softer on the VCores than the 008s. Diadem, way stiffer. Feel free to make fun of my form. It's windy, the ball machine's pushing me back, I know. There's always gonna be one or two guys in there that's like, can't even see the ball landing in. You know who you are. Oh yeah, stiffer. Yep. TerraCore. Whoa. Still stiff. Stiff like the softer. VCore's a bit softer. Let me go back to TrueFoam here in a second. Yeah. Stiffer. TrueFoam. Still stiffer and a bit more jarring than VCore. Again, $270. $100. Sweet spot's a bit tighter though on the VCore. 100%. But a bit softer feel off the... Well, wait a sec. Wait a sec. Wait a second. On touch shots. They're so close. I'm sorry. They're so close. Softness. Feel. Action off the face. I still prefer this one though because I get less harsh feedback. Let's go Surter. Can't really catch this in front. I'm trying. Camera. Element 6 is softer. Yep. Element 6 is softer than VCore. Feel of the ball off the face. Controllability though, pretty equal to me. Like on touch shots, the Surter is not jumping off the face. On touch shots. Yeah, VCore is a unique beast here. Let's go VCore and GX2. And I want to do J2 NF too. Okay. I love the way the GX2 power feels on drops. Love it. Think Yola Pro 4. And then pick your 16 millimeter, whatever you want. VCore. Man, there's something more composed here. Let's go to NF. All right, I got it. So I'm gonna go top three. Top three favorite paddles on drop shots out of all these foam cores. Okay. Again, we've got GX2 power, Honolulu Pickleball J2NF, Vatic Pro, VCore power, Flash, Ripple R5, Surter, Project 008, TrueFoam Genesis, TerraCore XD, and Diadem Warrior Blue Core. Favorite paddle for drops. And I'm assessing this based on controllability and the way that the ball feels off the face and the way that the ball moves off the face. I'm going with the VCore Power as my top paddle out of these foam core paddles for drop shots. Why? Because compared to these two, guys, this is marginal. This is marginal, and I have to nitpick here because I would grab any of these three to go play a higher level game tomorrow, 100%. But I'm nitpicking now. And the one playing characteristic that this paddle has that these don't, I can only describe by, you know, those of you that have played tennis, and I don't remember what they call the little rubber vibration dampening thing they put here on the strings. So when you first get a tennis racket and it's strung, chances are it's going to vibrate a lot in your hands, and you're going to feel the swing, the strings, and the frame. There's just going to be some vibration there. The best way that I can describe how these two feel is there's an open-endedness to ball contact, where it's like you can feel more parts of the paddle, like more parts of the court. If you know what a Perseus Pro Force 16 millimeter feels like, or an 11624 Power Series, or an 11624 Alpha Pro Power, or a Selkirk SLK era Power 16 feels like, there's this, I want to use the word hollowness, but I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's like you can feel more of the core, and that injects some variability into the consistency of the feel. If you hit its center, it feels one way, but if you start to move outwards of center, the paddle starts to, I'm going to use the word vibrate, but they don't vibrate. I don't know a better way to describe it. But this one, I know I've said that the sweet spot on this feels a bit tighter, but there isn't that hollow feel. Like, it's sort of muted. Like, if I was to take the GX2 and put that little vibrating ring on it, vibration dampening ring, and again, this is not vibrating, but there's something inside that sort of, you know, resonates when you make contact with an object that you don't pick up on here. And I kind of like that. You know, it's less to think about as you've made contact. Like, and again, my drops just now and over the course of the last week have felt fantastic with this VCore. Also very good here too, but I'm having to pick my top foam core paddle for, you know, drop shots. And I'm going with this VCore right now, having gone through this play test, followed by J2NF, followed by the GX2 Power Hybrid. Slim margins separating these two. The others, again, not bad paddles, just don't give me the feel and feedback that I would want to pick in a top 1, 2, or 3 paddle. They're just different playing characteristics. The ball comes off the face a little bit different, sounds a little bit different, ball moves a little bit different. Not a bad thing, especially when you spend time calibrating these. But yeah, I just really enjoy the way the ball comes off the face of these 3 paddles. Now, favorites overall, foam core paddles, and we've got Diadem Warrior Blue Core, Body Helix TerraCore, Carbon TrueFoam, Project 008, Element 6 Surter, Ronbus Ripple, Vatic Pro VCore Power, Flash, it's a mouthful, Honolulu Pickleball J2 J2NF and Gearbox GX2 Power. Favorites overall. I've got more time on these two paddles right now, guys, so I'm going... My overall favorite right now is the Honolulu Pickleball J2NF. Overall. How it performs on drives, how it performs on drops, how it performs on resets. Favorite full foam core paddle or favorite foam core paddle, Honolulu Pickleball J2NF. Just love everything about the way it plays. If you got any questions about it, drop them in the comments. Runners up. These play so differently. I can't do it. I can't pick a single second place. So I'm just going with both of these. These are my favorite runners up foam core paddles. This is obviously full foam core paddle. And this is a carbon rib core. Sorry, it's the Gearbox SST 2.0. What is it? Carbon rib core. So there's ribs. So like 22 different ribs. And Gearbox has tuned these to increase both power output, so just output, but also audio. So the GX2s originals played so muted, right? Like zero vibration, ball gets absorbed in the face, launches, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And you don't hear any sound, basically. Well, that's different here. I think if you're looking for a comparison, I would compare the Gearbox GX2 Power Series to the Yola Pro 4 Series. The Yola Pro 4 Series in terms of the way the ball performs, and also the way the paddle performs. It's going to be a fantastic paddle here. I think this is Gearbox's best paddle, hands down. So price-wise, while I wrap this up, you got $200 J2NF, which you can save, I think, 10 or 15%, something like that, with code MPB. When this launches on August 7th, the Gearbox GX2 Power, you can save 10% using code MPB. And this launches the last week of July, the Vatic Pro VCore Power Flash long handle, V7 long handle in bloom. I think it's the last week of July, and you can save some money by using code MPB here. So, guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you like this kind of format, I realize it's not the cleanest, and I realize that it's raw, but I get asked, how does this paddle feel and play and compare to that paddle? And how does that one compare to that one and that one and that one? And what I'm trying to do here is just help the community. Plus, I enjoy making this type of content, as chaotic as it is. Hopefully it comes together well. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got something out of it. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button and sharing it with a friend, hopefully they subscribe too. But other than that, let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.